On May 20th, 2010, a Ni channeler made a post with the title, "Those in the Center of Shizuoka." His very first comment was, "Why don't we put on some camouflage and go charging into a place that looks a little scary?" For ease of reference, I'll refer to him as C-san throughout, because the first letter of his user ID was C. "I want to rush into some scary places while climbing Nihon Daira like a self-defense force member," he continued. Nihon Daira, which literally means Japanese plain or plateau, is an area of Shimizu Ward in Shizuoka with famous views of Mount Fuji, the Izu Peninsula, and so on. It's a popular tourist spot, but is also surrounded by a lot of dense forest and ghost spots. In fact, the Nita-san house from Neikan Volume 2 is one of those spots. Several users commented that they knew of scary places nearby, but they personally didn't have any camouflage to wear. C-san relented and gave up on the camouflage requirement, but at least wanted people to wear something suitable for running around a mountain. When pressed on why he was so insistent about this, it was basically about creating a mood. He wanted to do something scary, and the clothes would help with that. After a few suggestions of places to visit, none of which C-san liked, he lamented the lack of enthusiasm to join him. People have met up from Ni Channel to go on adventures before, sure, but it's hard to blame people for not wanting to go along, especially considering it was nearly 11 PM by that point. Another user asked if he would take photos, and C-san said that, yeah, if he ended up going. Another wanted to know if he was a self-defense force member, to which he replied that no, he was just a mystery and horror maniac. The thread was supposed to gather a few interested parties to head out and explore Nihon Daira in the middle of the night, in camouflage or mountaineering gear, but not surprisingly, he wasn't having much luck. Shortly after 11:30 PM, C-san set out by himself to go exploring. Other users were excited for the potential of something live happening right before their very eyes again. And it didn't take long, because at 11:53 PM, C-san posted that he was being questioned by police. It turned out that the officer was another Ni channeler, and he apparently laughed when C-san showed him the thread that they were chatting in at that very moment. The officer questioned him because sightings of suspicious people weren't uncommon in the area, and being that he was in camouflage, well, he looked rather suspicious. The officer let him go, and C-san remarked that he was going to climb to the top of the nearby Funakoshi Park so that people didn't mistake him for a weirdo again. Shortly after midnight, C-san arrived at his goal, but was worried that his flashlight wouldn't last. He also couldn't figure out how to upload photos from his iPhone directly to the thread, so those waiting on them were, for the time being, out of luck. At 12:13 AM, C-san made his first somewhat creepy comment of the night. Someone just yelled out, "Hello." Was it one of you guys? Naturally, no one owned up to it, and C-san kept on the move. He moved to a tunnel near the rear of the park and, once there, claimed to notice a figure in the distance. After briefly debating whether he should chase after them or not, he decided to go for it. This person was roughly 166 centimeters tall, just a little higher than C-san himself, and probably a man. Yet, this person was not only much faster than him, they didn't seem to be out of breath either. C-san struggled to keep up and, shortly after 1 AM, posted another unsettling comment. "Shit." That was it. 1 minute later, he posted again. "He looked back this way just once. I'm gonna turn back." C-san no doubt ran after the man because he was after a little adventure, and well, he soon got what he wished for. While on the run, C-san posted that now the man was chasing after him. Typos started to filter into his text, and he revealed he was going to hide from the man in front of a nearby well. Almost 15 minutes passed before his next reply, but he claimed the man was gone, although he was worried that he might also be hiding somewhere nearby, waiting to ambush him. He started walking again with a stick for protection, just in case. Readers in the thread wanted pictures, but even if he could upload them, C-san claimed that they'd be pitch black anyway. It was nearly 2 AM on a mountain, after all. While debating if he should go home or not, he found a sign stating that he was 30 minutes from the top of the mountain. Then, at 2:07 AM, he posted a single comment: "He's here." C-san went on the run again, and his comments became even harder to decipher, presumably being typed on the run and full of random letters and characters that didn't make much sense. What was decipherable was that the man was muttering something that sounded like "Sangyoku-san," although he couldn't be too sure of that, and he was going to run to the nearby tunnel. At 2:21 AM, C-san ended up back at the well and posted a serious request for help. 3 minutes later, he again asked how to upload photos and claimed that someone nearby was screaming. If all of this was true, then C-san was under attack at that very moment and feared for his life. As one reader put it, "I don't really know what's going on, but are you saying that you're now being chased by the guy you chased?" "Yes," C-san said, then explained that the presence was gone, so he was going to run again. He then suddenly seemed to remember the flash on his phone, but feared that the person was still hiding nearby and would notice it, and something was still making noise as well. Not that it mattered, because he couldn't figure out how to turn on the flash anyway. He'd only just bought the thing, he said, and hadn't figured it out yet. Once again, C-san begged for someone to come get him, at least as far as the nearby parking lot. He was too scared to keep running. Then, at 2:38, he posted that someone was standing on his path back home. "It's all over." He posted a flood of comments, claiming that he could see someone running towards him, he could hear screams, and begged someone to come and look for him, even if that meant tomorrow, if he suddenly stopped posting. At 2:52, roughly 3.5 hours after he set out, C-san said that he was going to turn his phone off for a moment because it was running out of power. He returned a few minutes later because what he thought was only 5% battery was actually 25%. There was mud on his phone. At this point, he also shared a description of the person chasing him. He was wearing a black jacket, green cargo pants, and had glasses on. One user in the thread compared it to Hasumi from Kisaragi Station, and how she also disappeared after going near a tunnel in Shizuoka Prefecture. Losing hope, C-san once again appealed for someone, preferably several people, to come and get him from the tunnel near the rear of Funakoshi Park. Failing that, he'd have to call the police. He continued hiding near the well, out of both food and water. His flashlight had died, and his phone was also about to die, and all he had left was a small penlight. At 3:36 AM, C-san made his final comment. "And just like that, my phone is dead. Is everyone here asleep? Good night." C-san never posted again. What started as a light-hearted thread about exploring a mountain late at night turned into, at least for C-san, a horror film where he found himself on the run from someone that, to be fair, he decided to chase first. While some readers in the thread joked about how he'd probably be on the news the following day, others were concerned that he had actually gone missing. By lunchtime that day, several users had started to organise a local search party to find the man. After some back and forth, one user, I'll call him F-san from his ID, did a drive-by of the area at roughly 9 PM that night. He noticed numerous cars in the area and wondered if they were other knee channelers, but it was otherwise too dark to go searching for anyone. He also remarked that he did see someone who looked suspiciously like the man C-san described, only this man was wearing sunglasses, rather than regular glasses. But if true, that meant the man was in the same area 2 nights in a row in the same clothes. Not unheard of, sure, but weird. Did he really have something to do with C-san's disappearance? As the night wore on, Ni channelers continued their attempts at putting a search party together, but their efforts fell through. Then at just before 10 AM the following day, 2 days after C-san went missing, another user posted a photo with his ID on top of some camouflaged clothing. This man, M-san, had decided to go out and search. He returned shortly before 5 PM and updated the thread with various photos of his exploits. M-san detailed each of the places he visited while looking for C-san, and noticed several creepy things he found along the way, including an old man in sunglasses who got angry at him for taking photos. He found several wells that could have been the location C-san hid at, but he didn't find anyone there, living or dead. He also posted pictures of the tunnel C-san was likely talking about, which was apparently a well-known local ghost spot. One particularly creepy photo showed a man's shirt buttoned around a tree near a no entry sign and next to a Shinto guardian dog statue. There was also a sign that said, "Those who enter the bamboo forest will be considered something something." That particular word alone had disappeared. The final photo he shared was a picture of himself in his camo, with the old man in question walking away. Users joked that he looked like Kim Jong-il and then referred to him as such throughout the rest of the thread. M-san wanted to head out again that night if other users were going, but he was tired from the trip. He remarked that the area felt remarkably like the game Siren, which no doubt helped add to the atmosphere of the thread. Then J-san stepped up, a former Self-Defense Forces member with night vision goggles. By this point, it seemed the readers in the thread were treating it more like an adventure than a serious attempt to rescue C-san, if he even had disappeared in the first place. J-san went out that night by himself and documented his adventures as well. He even took some video that he uploaded on YouTube. I'll leave a link in the comments if you want to watch that for yourself because the video is still up. J-san posted various pictures, just like M-san had, but by this point, they had mostly forgotten about C-san, and it was more a highlight of the creepy things in the area. Other readers tried to point out ghosts lurking in each of the photos, and just before 4 AM, J-san shared his YouTube video. And that was pretty much the end of that. The following day, 3 days after C-san's disappearance, people were combing J-san's photos and video footage for ghosts, and the missing man seemed to have been forgotten. By that point, they were on their 3rd thread and the story eventually died out. So, what happened to C-san? To this day, nobody knows. The thread became somewhat infamous, although certainly not to the degree of Kisaragi Station or anything like that. It wasn't scary enough for that, and it also lacked a coherent story as such. But for those there at the time, it was another real-time adventure in which they potentially watched someone get attacked and then go missing, followed by several other users who set out to find him, taking creepy photos along the way. Did C-san really go missing? Did he even go out into the mountains to begin with? It's impossible to tell, because unlike the other users, he never once shared any pictures. He could have been typing on his phone from the safety and comfort of his home, and we wouldn't be any the wiser. But because his story lacked impact, that wow factor that made stories like Kisaragi Station so famous, it quickly fizzled out and now lives on archived across various copy and paste websites who saved it from deletion, and that's about it. What do you guys think? Did C-san really go missing, or was it all a big hoax from the start? Who was the man in the sunglasses that several people saw? Was the old man with the glasses perhaps that same person? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.